welcome back to Shotgun the Orcs podcast. It's your host Tom, joined by my co-host Rob again for another exciting instalment of Shotgun the Classics. How you doing, man?
I'm right.
I'll tell you what, man, it feels good to have a co-host that regularly turns up, if at all.
You can't be slagging them lot off. You can't
big up yourself, man. I'm not slagging anyone off. I was merely speaking my mind.
That's indirect. You're indirecting.
Subliminals.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Oh, fucking hell. It's like Charlie Sloth horns here. So for this episode, we have basically we're talking about another classic UK record. If it's your first time listening, the concept is we take a classic underground album or even something we feel needs to be noticed more, and we break it down track by track. We talk about the production, the bars, the themes, etc. Some are more well-known than others, so it's nice to shine a light on those we feel deserve more attention. Speaking of which, this week we're covering Blak Twang, a.k.a. Tony Rotten's 1996 debut record, DettWork SouthEast.
Wow.
Considered by some as one of the best UK hip-hop records ever made. We'll go into that later in terms of our view on that statement. A little bit of background: there's only a few physical copies in existence originally, the test pressings and promo tapes and stuff, because it was never officially released, if I'm correct in saying so. Until 18 years later in 2014. Essentially down to the fans pushing for that to happen relentlessly. So big up yourselves. So Rob, man, initial thoughts on DettWork SouthEast?
Like when I was always listening to UK hip hop, this stood apart from everything else. Do you know what I mean? Like it had a different type of sound to it. Not in a sense, not in a Roots Maneuver type sense, but more like it had an authenticity that some UK hip hop didn't have yet. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of ahead of its time for when it came out. So it was completely different to the start. It sounded more cohesive and put together in a sense of what you expect from a hip hop album. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like Britcore. It wasn't, like too old school sounding in a sense. But it was like it had that cohesiveness, and at the same time as well, it had its own identity, which was massively important because it was still in that era of every now and then you'd hear people rapping in American accent, but with Tony spitting on here, it was all about using London slang. Do you know what I mean? Or his own slang, or rhyming slang, or something like that, or things that British people can relate to. Not just London people, but British people can relate to. So it had that authenticity to it, as well as having the cohesiveness as a proper hip hop album. So
he almost took it that step further. He didn't only rap in his, native accent, like UK accent. Yeah. He took it that step further and incorporated the vernacular, the slang. Cockney rhyming slang is peppered throughout this, man. It's sick.
All over.
Geezer swag.
Yeah, he's full on. He's the quintessential geezer, really, isn't it? And that's what sets him apart. Like you've got people like Rodney P, who's a geezer. He's a geezer. Do you know what I mean? Twang's a geezer, and that's what makes him different to some UK hip hop stuff. It's not essentially, when people say UK hip hop, they think of like nerdy white kids that smoke bongs with dreadlocks. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes, but this is kind
sometimes.
This is kind of
there's UK hip hop and then there's UK hip hop.
That's it.
Yeah, so, it's important to differentiate between the two. Do you know what I mean?
Sonically, it's set apart from it, but it was all kind of put in the same thing. But he got nominated for awards off of his music. So
exactly, man. He enjoyed some. Yeah, man. In Mobo, he enjoyed commercial success. With Kickoff, and admittedly, like I was more familiar with that record than this one. I had to come back to this.
This record is crazy.
Because you're older. You're a bit older than me, man. So like you probably.
But I might be a little bit older, but the thing is, when you might have been discovering it, you might have discovered it about 4 or 5 years later. I don't know. I was probably getting onto it about 2000, 2001. Do you know what I mean? So because obviously it wasn't available, so we couldn't go and buy it. So
Yeah.
it wasn't in the NHMV or nothing like that. It could be. It could have been all over that. That's how good it was. You know what I mean? But like you said, it was just promos and stuff like that. And again, like you would hear Blak Twang's name mentioned and and eventually, because of the massive bootleg of everyone's soul online, you get things like this because people would share it because they would be happy to share their music with you, which is no good for Tony, because I guarantee he was like working his arse off to get noticed and get paid for what he was doing, and he was definitely good enough to do it. You know what I mean?
It's almost like a sacrifice that many of these, trailblazers and pioneers had to make. Probably didn't know that they were doing it at the time and how important they'd be considered. But that's why it's important. Yeah. It's important to shine a light on these people.
He's like, for me, I want to get this out of the way early. Like for me, I reckon he was another one of the influences on me of why I am an MC now, or an artist, because he came to Bournemouth initially, and we saw him in town, and then he was outside of Consortium, right on the hill. He's outside of there.
For any listeners, Consortium is was a small club, I guess in the centre of Bournemouth.
On the square.
I don't know what it goes by now, or if it's even open anymore. But yeah, I had some sick nights there. I saw DJ Yoda there back in the day.
Saw people under the stairs there twice.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of people used to come down there. I think Jabba the Cut used to be the DJ, their resident DJ, and that. Anyway, so Twang came down, performed there, if I'm not wrong, and then I was rapping outside, and he was in a car, and then he was like, "You rap, yeah, da 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 da," and then he said, "Right, cool. Next time I'm in Bournemouth, come and see me with a CD." So I was like, "Oh, shit, all right, cool, right." And I'm green, like I'm not the best MC in the world. I'm like shit, if I'm honest. Like I'm not very good at all. I had probably about 2 or 3 good verses. That was about it. But it was my mission, innit? It was my mission to get that CD done. So I managed to get onto DJ X-Rated, used to own Strictly Beats. He gave me some beats. I rhymed over those beats, and then he came down again like a year later or something, maybe when kickoff was all happening and stuff like that, and then went down there with the CD, gave him the CD, heard nothing. Obviously heard nothing, but it was cool because it gave me that drive. Do you know what I mean? That work, that incentive to go and do something. Like, right, cool, get off your ass, do something for the music, package it up, get a photo shot of get a photo of myself posing for the cover, not like a dickhead, but just like a stylistic side shot or whatever. With some graphics on it, maybe put a product together so I could give to someone that was important. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of instilled like a motivation in me. So I think without that, I might not have been as motivated, so I can give him props for that. Do you know what I mean?
Nice one, man.
And I've supported him.
There you go. So there was a happy ending to that.
If we meet again, I want to have if we meet again, I want to tell him that story if he hadn't heard it on
it. So before we get into the track by track breakdown, it's important to note that it's a very fucking long album. But it's probably of its time.
No, it's not. It does.
It's an hour and 10 minutes, but it's of its time. That's what I'll kind of like. I'll caveat that with.
Yeah, most albums, from back in the day, are 15 tracks long. The songs are about 4 minutes to 5 minutes, because that's what.
You get like 2-3 hour albums and shit. But it's probably like an average length album for its time. But listening to it today, you could probably get away with thinking it's long. There is some filler, in my opinion, but we'll go into that. But for the most part, it's dope as hell, man. We'll get into this. Did you want to kick off with the first track, Stand Clear of the Doors? Nice little instrumental.
Just rolls in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just rolls in. Nice little mid-tempo thing. What's it going to do? It just sounds, just eases you in. Like what it doesn't need anything else. It's just there, isn't it?
Who produced this album for the most part? Was it self-produced?
I think so.
Yeah. Because it's
Yeah.
hard to find information about it.
I think it was self-produced, but there was other people involved. I think Tony had a massive hand in producing it, and there was help.
DJ Rumpel did the scratches.
All right.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was self-produced. Could be wrong. If you know, leave a comment.
But that's crazy too, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It is.
Especially for the type of beats, and especially for DettWork SouthEast, the production on that. That was the first song I heard, was DettWork SouthEast, right? Which is the second track. Did you see that seamless link?
Nice.
The seamless link.
Seamless segue.
That's it, mate. Segueing all over the shop. When I first heard that, I didn't know how old the song was. In fact, it's the whole album. I didn't know how old the album actually was. Like, I had to ask you at the start of this because I'm still not sure. Like, because to me, it's a classic bit of work. Like, it doesn't age. Do you know what I mean? It's timeless. Like, it's fine. Like, you can play it now, then it will still be music that sounds. There's a little bit here and there with maybe with the delivery, like from Tony himself. But yeah, other than that, yeah.
Man.
But yeah, this song, banger.
Sinister, like, movie score again. How, like, the strings come in. Like, the tone shifts dramatically from the intro as well.
Yeah,
You've got, like, the nice smooth intro. Like, oh, right, cool, yeah, I'm on a nice, like, smooth ride. It's like, hold up, motherfucker, what did you think? Like, here we are. Obviously, a pun on the rail company DettWork SouthEast as well. Good, and he's from Deptford, so it's ties in nicely. So as I say, the tone shifts dramatically from the intro. Original South London trooper, like big boom bap beats. The bass is mad.
It's mad, yeah. Nice heavy bass as well. And it doesn't like just jump straight into it. It kind of drops in elements of the production, and then it kind of falls into the production and bangs away. Do you know what I mean? Which is nice. It's done properly, quite subtly as well.
And nice. you touched upon it before. I mean, he's rapping in that kind of London vernacular. Like, there's no play acting with the accent. It's making a statement that he's repping the UK. It's like none of that faux US accent here, which was like kind of more prominent in UK hip hop at the time. You know, because before we were really finding our identity in hip hop, obviously a lot of people were just kind of catting what the US were doing. And that's understandable. You know, it's derivative, in its whole essence. So to actually kind of, this was like a turning point.
Yeah, and I think he didn't. I don't know if he influenced any of them, but he raps how a lot of grime heads would rap. Do you know what I mean? Like, because of the way they use their slang and the way it kind of it's so natural for them to chuck it in there. Whereas a UK hip hop head wouldn't necessarily chuck that in there because they're not a rude boy, or they're not from a certain background or something like that. Some are, some aren't, but yeah. So it kind of I can draw more similarities with some of the way the grime MCs rhyme to with their speech patterns. You know what I mean? As opposed to traditional later UK hip hop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a banger.
You've got to love a shredded wheat bar as well, man. I mean, come on. I mean, like, Roots Maneuver raps about like cheese on toast, and you've got like fucking.
Yeah, but that's the old rhyme. You know that's the old
wheat
rhyme.
Bars.
Yeah, but that's the old rhyme. You don't know what that is?
Huh?
Northeast, southwest. Never eat shredded wheat. Yeah. I was gonna say you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to chuck that.
No.
Yeah.
But
that's British,
in terms of like the whole. Yeah, exactly. The British, like shredded wheat, and just pulling the kind of similarity from Witness and the cheese on toast bar. It's just so like those little things only like British people can relate to. Like it's sick, man. But I think this is a really good, not opening track, but like second track. It sets the tone of the whole project.
Like live, this would be crazy. Do you know what I mean? I've seen it live, but yeah, no, it is crazy live. But I think the difference, seeing it where I saw it and seeing it maybe at the time and at a place where the crowd would have been a bit more into it. Do you know, not into it, but more free in their expressing their love for the music. And you'd see people jump. Basically, the hook's like so rowdy, I could imagine people getting chucked about and going crazy on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas where I went to see it, everyone's just like nodding their heads, trying not to get caught smoking weed in a room. Do you know what I mean? Because in clubs you could smoke back then. But yeah, yeah.
People still do, man.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Always blaze at a hip hop gig. It's got to be done.
Apart from if you're at the Winchester and you're watching Skinny Man because someone tried that, and he's on the stage like that. Some mate sparked up at the front, and the bouncer's literally 2 meters away from him, and they had to shut the show down. That's quite not shut it down, but they had to stop it. But yeah, no. But we digress.
Any standout bars?
A few. I think this is all one. But he just goes through things that's about London, doesn't it? He goes from Old Kent Road to Ladbroke Grove. I lay low, handled most of my biz on my cellular dog and bone. Know if I ain't in Brixton, you might catch me up in Hackney. A rhythm roll, scope and all the girls in them jungle clothes. Moschino's, Versace and Polo. Police shirts, Ralph Lauren labels. And that thing is, if you're kind of like my age, you remember that kind of that fashion. Do you know what I mean? Because I can remember people wearing those types of fashion at that point, and it being far too expensive to wear myself. Do you know what I mean? But I can remember that type of era because I'm a 90s kid, really. So yeah, that kind of resonated with me. So yeah.
Nice, man. So DettWork SouthEast on to Fearless. Another drastic shift in tone, more introspective, more socially conscious.
Yeah.
It's kind of all about, well, my interpretation, it's all about survival, kill or be killed, inner city mentality, make you want to fight when you step into my locality, that kind of, that just kind of, this is my world, have a look. That's kind of how I interpret it,
Personally, like, this is like this song gives a sense of pride. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like it's unashamed, like fearlessness. You know what I mean? Like, it is a sense of pride. Like, it's just like laid back and honest. Obviously, like you said, go on.
That's the bar. Sometimes my mind gets sicker than a child molester's when I think of all the evil things they did to my ancestors.
Yeah.
But God blessed us in the Exodus, protected us from a treacherous detriment, incestuous and lecherous. Oh man, that rhyme pattern's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I've just realised that what you're saying I have in front of me. But yeah, so there, the whole song for me is like it's a vibe of pride and unashamed self-worth. Do you know what I mean? And you can do this, you can do that, but I'm not afraid of what you're trying to fucking do. And like, it's empowering as well at the same time for listeners in that social situation or who have experienced certain things. And as well, it gives you a little bit of a history lesson here and there, which is obviously, again, is important for people to know, or to touch on at least, to make people aware of, as opposed to just thinking about the same old thing. I really like this song. I've really personally liked it. I connected with it in that sense of pride. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, big up for that one.
It's talk all about the Queen's Head's dead presidents, obviously like foreshadowing the next track, which we'll roll into if you want to. Actually, no, it's not. The next track is Heads and Tails.
Yeah, which you could have smoothed it out and went into Queen's Heads and Tails. You could have.
Yeah, could have done.
Didn't do it, did you?
No, I fucked that right up, didn't I? Oh well, whatever. We're rolling anyway. But no, Heads and Tails is sick. I love the bass line and the beat.
Yeah.
The cuts are sick. The beat's smooth. Here's a little story that must be told. I love that in the sample as well.
For me, what did I write down there? It's like, it is storytelling, and it's like theatrical, same familiar type of beats and stuff like that. This is kind of like that Lahane type vibe.
It's like it's like a hangout day in the life, but then it kind of culminates in like a tragedy,
Yeah.
I see what you mean with the
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Comparison. Yeah. And so is this based on a true story?
Couldn't tell you. But I mean, yeah, the like the cinematics of it, the way it happens, it's a really good story, the way it draws you in and stuff like that. It's a laid back beat. It's not, I don't want to say standard, but I don't want to, because it's not a standard beat, but it's a nice roller. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gets you into it and kind of.
And I guess kind of
compelling.
the concept is like yin and yang, isn't it? It's like you've got the kind of pros and cons, joy and pain, pass and fail. You've got life's winners and losers, heads and tails. It's just like flipping a coin. Like what could happen?
Yeah.
We're all kind of victims of circumstance. I thought it was a really good track. I think in terms of the storytelling, the altercation between the two people at the end, the two sides of the story. I love the bar. Caught me in a deep sleep with no snoring. It's just like really kind of poignant way to say died.
Dead.
I was just like that bar was just like whoa. Had to pull that one back.
It's an important thing. I think every rapper should have like that kind of storytelling ability up their sleeve, and when you do it properly, it hits. And and he does it here perfectly, smashes it, and then kills it.
Yeah, big fan of that one. Anything else you want to talk about, heads and tails, or shall we move on to Thai boxing?
Just I think like. Again, it's that social commentary, and it's 1996, so that's a long time ago, right? Maths, 27 years? No, is that right? No. How old am I? Who knows? It's a long time ago, right? And the same things still apply. Do you know what I mean? He's still talking about stabbings and robberies and knife crime and stuff like that, and things haven't moved on so much, and you think things would have moved on, but they haven't moved on because they're
of human beings, man, and systems that don't work. I think there's a lot of things at play.
It's kind of it's mad, really. Same struggles for people in that situation.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Right. Anyone really? Right.
Ding. Thai boxing. So it's the live intro is kind of. It sounds like a show.
It's Westwood, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I thought.
It's when people liked in Westwood.
It's the first track I would describe. You probably disagree as like a complete banger in terms of the tempo and just like the immediate screw face. I love the instrumental. It was kind of Wu-Tang.
Yeah. I get that.
RZA like minor keys. I think his rhyme pattern probably at his best on this track so far. I just shut your mouth, mate. Listen to the ruggedness. I mean, he spits with such conviction. I love the bridge. I love the hook. The cold Britishness of it. Like off the back of lorries. That's why I never shop at Curry's. It's like, come on, like who's talking about that in rap tunes, man?
He ain't. That's what I'm saying. The hook's good as well. The hook. Is something you can just. It's like that onomatopoeic comic book. Fuck you up type thing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not hard to catch onto, do you know what I mean? And that's what all hooks should be. It should be something that you can just like hop onto, even if you're at a show and you've not heard it before. And that it delivers, do you know what I mean? So, like you said, it's raw, get into it. But yeah, smashed it.
The end of the track as well, just like guns. It's just like
what did he say? What did he say? Swinging like my dog's bollocks, never disheveled, level-headed. When I bury my Jekyll's Seckle? Yeah, something like that. I like Tony for his melodic stuff as well that he chucks in here and there. I think we'll get into that later on because he does really, really good with his like bits of patois here and there and like his melodics, and that really creates another dimension to what he does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but that I think that comes later on anyway. But yeah, Thai boxing.
I know the track you mean. You mean specifically. So Thai boxing, sick. I love the overall instrumental. I love the beat. I love the kind of up tempo. It's a banger, as I said. I think it's an absolute banger, and I'd play this loud in my car. Like an obnoxious dickhead.
You're so obnoxious.
Yeah, I don't care, man.
Cruising around Cornwall.
It's Devon, man.
No, but you're cruising around Cornwall because you're beefing with
them. I see what you did there, man. Come on, I'm just not clever enough for this shit. I'm slow tonight. I haven't had enough coffee. So creme de la crop, next track. What are your thoughts, man?
Like hazy, boom bap. Carries it is like an album track. Um, there's some sick bars in it though.
Yeah.
Really, really good bars in it. Like I was a bit. Sometimes you get a bit like I don't know what nonplussed to what you're trying to say, but there were some really, really good bars in it as well. It's like droplets of acid rain burning through umbrellas, crystallized eyesights, kind of like Yuri Geller. Who's that good fella with the Mac 10 in the jacuzzi? I'm Ella Fitzgerald, Nelson Mandela, Fela Kuti. It's like that's crazy, and the way he says it as well, because I can't get that speech pattern as well as he killed it. Like those that as a as a screenshot is sick. Droplets of acid rain burning through your umbrella, crystallizing your eyes, bending like mind bending like Yuri Geller, the good fella with the Mac 10 in the jacuzzi, and then he chucks out all these, black role models as well. So that's a kind of a juxtaposition, really. Think about it.
Yeah, he also talks a lot about how materiality dilutes real life, and how don't forget where you came from. That kind of that kind of idea. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah. I think the general kind of message of this track's a good one. But in terms of like sonically, not. I wouldn't say it's forgettable. There's some good stuff in the instrumental. I like kind of the swirling flute and the cuts at the beginning. It's just it's not like a standout for me.
No, I said it's. I've said it like it's an album track. It's not a forgettable
Yeah,
one because once you hear it, you're into it. But
yeah,
like, but yeah, it's not like what you've just heard on the previous track.
yeah. It's a bit of
But
a
then, but
okay.
but it's a balance though, isn't it? Really, if you think
Hmm.
about it, because if you're gonna get bars like the ones I just said, then it's a trade off. Then I suppose because it's gonna.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's yeah, but yeah, no, it's a nice track, good track, album track. What are you gonna say? It's not shit. It's
No,
wicked.
no, no. Again, man. I mean, it's a solid album so far, man. I mean, all of it's dope. Again, I mentioned on previous episodes, it's all relative to this project, and so when anything is being criticised, it's just kind of nitpicking. It's just within the parameters and within the context of this project. But moving on, don't let them fool you.
Smashed it.
Slow the
Banger.
beat right down. It's quite a simple instrumental as well, but it's
Like
effective.
the intro, the slow instrumental with the little kind of like transformer cuts on it.
Hmm.
Like really nice, kind of just lets you in there. There's like little glistens in the background and that. But yeah, no, the hook on this is like phenomenal. And he
Yeah,
plays with that idea of that kind of like musicality along throughout the song, and that kind of you can put this on play on replay, sorry, like over and over again. It's one of those types of songs because the vibe is chilling. You could smoke to it, you could chill out with people, you could do whatever. So you could be in your car to it. It's yeah, very like to me, it's a good shit. Like
yeah, man.
it's really good. But yeah, his melody
His
is what kills it on this.
his flow and his ability to tell a story is second to none, man. Like as I said, the hook was nice. Like the vocal stylings and the second verse and throughout the rest of it is just like, come on, he's a triple threat, man.
Yeah,
Rapper, producer, singer. Come on.
yeah. I think like I like them. The message behind it was good as well. Do you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
the hook states what the message is. Obviously, you can have the world in the universe. Do you know what I mean? Don't let them fool you, type thing. So it kind of states what it is. And there's a little, I don't know, would you call it a bridge? Here's like a little vocal kind of thing where he goes, he says, when I was a youth, they used to tell me that I would be a bus conductor. They said I couldn't be a doctor. Now I am a man. I want a mansion, a villa and a house and a sports car. And I even want a helicopter. But the first line is what that pulled me in. It's like when I was young, they told me I could be a bus conductor, not a doctor. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
saw that
yeah.
on a TV program. I swear I saw that on a TV program where they said, why are all these kids getting told they can be a doctor, and all these all these other people being told they can do this?
It's fucked up, man.
Do you know what I mean? Or black
Yeah.
people, why there's difference? Yeah, why? I think that was on a TV program. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
it's systematic racism.
Yeah, massively. It's like
Um,
it's not like yeah, but it was good that it's been pointed out. Like it's
yeah.
And the way it's been pointed out as well, it's just like it's almost made fun of it, but you've not even made light of it. I don't know, what have you done to it when you add melody to it? What do you do? It's almost a motive in a way, but not. It's got an it lends some attachment to you.
Yeah, you've helped to make the message more
memorable.
Digestible, memorable,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Yeah, exactly. It's through the medium of song, so it's so putting it that way, I think the message is sick. 100%, man.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got anything else to touch upon on this one?
Just the bass. I like the bass.
Yeah,
the bass. All the beats on this album are unbelievable. Like, they could all be played at that time in 1996. They could have all been around, kind of whatever was being played back then. Easily, I've said it on other podcasts, but like this, the same as this. Like 1996, you could imagine, like, I don't know, like a Diamond D or Big L or someone on these type of beats. You know what I mean? Like,
I was going to draw the Big L comparison. You know, like Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. No, just the general kind of like aesthetic. Like, it's like he's talking about his environment in New York. Blak Twang's talking about his environment in London. But in terms of like,
I don't know about that. Go on. In terms of like, what are you saying?
No. Just in terms of just like even like the cover art and stuff like that, I think is kind of comparable. You know, just that kind of aesthetic behind. Just two different sides of the globe that
very similar. Kind of... I think you can draw comparisons to maybe other albums, but I think when I first heard that album, the Big L one, I was like, this is on some different shit. Like
right. So let me just caveat that by saying I'm not talking about sonically the whole thing is similar and I'm comparing the two, like one's better or the other. I'm not saying
no, of course not.
I'm just saying in terms of like aesthetic, when I see one and the other and I hear one and the other, I think, right, one's very much kind of New York rap, talking about his environment, all of these street tales. Tony's talking about all of these tales based in London, so there's like it's comparative.
Okay, cool.
Just so from an aesthetic perspective, not like content wise, not like
no.
Because you can't compare them when it comes to the music itself, but I just mean at a glance. Like, I looked at the DettWork SouthEast cover, and I'm like, immediately my mind just went to Lifestyles of the Poor and the Dangerous.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, kind of.
And only built for tenuous links, man.
Only built for tenuous links. Wow. That should be your album. That's your album. That's
exactly, man.
You got to come up with an MC name now. Not now. We'll do it later. It'll take too long. Take fucking too long.
Yeah. Speaking of long, we're still listening to this album. Right. Yeah. Queen's Heads.
Like, the way the strings come up, you can tell this is the culmination of the album. Like, this is like the forefront and figurehead of the album. Do you know what I mean? And it was the single, and it, had the video. This is a banger. Like, like I said, like
it's one of the best on the album, man. I think this is where I won't go as far as saying it's where like the album peaks.
Production, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not actually. I don't know. I think vibe, like the vibe from the production, like you get that kind of optimism, and hustle hard type vibe from it, which is a nice thing to have on. And if you can capture that on a beat and do it and pull it off, then that's something that you'd always want to do. And they do it on this.
Yeah. So, it's very like it's a product of the 90s, man. Like, this is a very like snapshot in time. If you were to throw it on, you'd just be like, yeah, this was made in the 90s. I love the kind of British spin on like dollar bill or like cream. It's kind of like Queen's Head. Okay, so you got the rhyming slang, but it's also like the whole money thing. But then you got like the double entendre with like toppling the monarchy, head on a platter, that type of thing. So kind of anti-establishment, but we need money in this life.
We need money.
Yeah, I like that whole that whole quandary.
Yeah.
I aspire to acquire those queens. It's just like, come on, it's just such a cool visual. I think Roots Maneuver kills it as well.
He's not Roots Maneuver yet. Like he
Yeah,
is Roots Maneuver, but it's like he's not as fucking off his head at this point. Like he is off his head, but he's not. It's more like his delivery's nice. It's smooth but clunky, so it trickles out. So which is really really nice. Like it's a nice contrast to how Tony rhymes. If I'm honest, I think that this song, I swear, like Tony's delivery is not as good on this. If you listen to DettWork, listen to that.
I was gonna say, I think like the beat carries it, not carries it, but the beat is stronger than the wordplay and the delivery of the bars.
Yeah, the delivery is really off. He sounds like he's got cold, or he's gruff, or he's not as polished, or it's a bit forced, or it doesn't sound like.
Do you think this was recorded like in isolation to the rest of the project, or it must have?
I think it was, but then it's still an amazing song. Like it's not. I'm not going to turn around and say it's a shit song, because I think it's an earlier song. It's just an earlier song that's on the album, and I think it sets a tone, if anything, to to carry on and fit another project. Fit a project around it. So I think you can tell maybe it might have been recorded earlier, but you've got it. So who cares?
Yeah, I think Roots Maneuver. Maybe he had a bit to work on his flow and he'd get there, but his bars were still solid, man. Like Saw from the Pain, from the Next Man's Chain, that kind of like just covetous. I'm always like
jealousy,
wanting something else, and how that's a killer. Do you know what I mean? That vicious cycle. I love the back and forth in the last verse.
Yeah.
The reference to like Wonga again is like such a British expression. Fat like Bombata. Moving on, but I gone money mad like the London Posse Man. Them again, nice little nod to nod to London Posse, Rodney P. Again, establishing and reaffirming how Tony is first and foremost a British hip hop artist, and in turn he gives props to other pioneers. When he could be referencing US heads, but no, I'm going to reference London Posse. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of
But why would you reference anyone else? Do you know what I mean? Why would you? I wouldn't. Why would you reference anyone else if it's more pertinent to rep people from your end? From your country. Do you know what I mean?
But I feel like it was an important time. Obviously, UK hip hop had existed longer, but it was still a significant time where stamping our identity was like a really important statement to make.
I think it's because people couldn't get it right. They could get it right, but they couldn't get it right. Like the production was always good. And it even had its own sound to be defined as maybe another genre. Do you know what I mean? But the hardest part for an English person when they heard an American accent doing rap, they kind of like thought that was how you did it. Do you know what I mean? So it was trying to get that in the right place for UK hip hop, and this is a moment where it was the right thing to do. So it wasn't the right thing to do, but he did it the right way. But this is a sick tune. It's a brilliant song.
Agreed, man.
Videos out there. There's a little foreshadowing to another track on another album here, where he says, "My bills are coming like a personal vendetta. I get one red letter after one red letter," and that's a hook from Red Letter on 19 Long Time. Yeah, Well, so
that's his second. Is that his second album? That's the one that follows this one.
You can't can't find from anywhere.
Sad, man. So what was that? Just due to like obstruction from studios and shit. That's fucked up, man.
I know. The albums are ridiculous. These albums are absolutely ridiculous. Like, if you're ahead and you haven't heard this, and you need to hear it, and I don't know why they were obstructed, why, you know what I mean? You can't get hold of them. This is something that's important to hear. Do you know what I mean?
Man. Moving on, BS Survivor.
Backstreet Survivor. Bruce Maneuver said it in the last song. They sampled it. Was I'm a Backstreet Survivor, and they used
Yeah,
the hook.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
again kind of lends itself to the theory that Queen's Head was recorded in, isolation.
Uh-huh.
And it's just kind of, they've used that bar and they've like turned it into a concept. But yeah, the kind of vibe I get is it's about, Backstreet Survivor, like overcoming obstacles, like backstabbers, shady people,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, rising above it, achieving your goal regardless. Like, it's a positive message, in the face of adversity. But I
Mm.
love his multis and flow on the second verse.
Mm.
The beat's nothing to write home about, in my
I
opinion.
like I like the beat. I think the
It's a nice
beat
roller, but it's kind of like, it
it
serves as a nice sonic landscape for Twang to like flow over. Do you know
I
what I mean?
said
Like, it serves a purpose.
I said it's like a classic like underground like xylophone. That's what I said. Like there's lots of similar beats like that from kind of that time. Well, maybe even later on, I think, if you look into like older, like not older, but like like New York type
Yeah.
stuff. There's that xylophone, like heavy bass and stuff like that. So it's a nice aesthetic. It's kind of like that underground, simple aesthetic. Yeah, Dark Nights and shit. It's nice. It's a cool. I like the intro. I'd rhyme over it. It's a nice instrumental.
Okay. All right. So agree
So,
to disagree. So I don't dislike it. It's just like a bit forgettable, like in terms of the instrumental. But I love the bars. I love his delivery. Um,
go on.
anything else on this one before we
Yeah, I
move
like the
on to?
bars. I got bar quotable. It never ceases to amaze me. People are shady, crazy, and lazy. I see them abandoning babies way before they're born in the name of corn. Stand firm, bold, support myself like scaffold. So who talks about scaffolding? Do you know what I mean? Support myself like a scaffold. Do you know what I mean? No one talks about scaffolding. Again, they don't, do they?
Tony
Really?
Rotten does. He talks
Yeah,
about it all the
Tony Rotten
time in his
does. Yeah,
bars. Come on, man.
he loves it. Bow next. Paralytic Monkey.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the beat makes up for the previous track. Like, the bass is heavy. Tony comes through, like, swinging with the opening verse. Like, it's aggy as fuck. Like, the word,
Yeah.
I really like his delivery on this track, man.
I think the beat suits it as well. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's to me it sounds like off key and like uptight, like
Yeah.
paranoid. Like it sounds like it's all over the place. To me it sounds like it's swinging back and forth and back and like it kind of in almost like a delusional state, which is what the track's about. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, Tony goes in, dropping in like facilities, don't he? Like English facilities, mental institutions, and stuff like that, and talking about how mad he is. But yeah, he comes in and
And
kills the concept.
Fallacies versus, like, it's not as strong in terms of the wordplay or anything like that, but he's got a very like distinct cadence, and his voice is just like quite jarring, and there's a nice contrast to Tony's. I think it works quite well.
Yeah,
Um, it's I put here the delivery's hard, but ultimately falls short after Tony's first verse, which is fucking amazing.
yeah. No, Tony's verse is fucking amazing. I
Yeah,
would say like Tony is the song, right?
yeah.
But like,
The personality, I guess, is like
but
Fallacy.
fucking Fallacy's
Yeah.
ridiculous. He's someone, right? We should have seen more of. Like he was either born in the wrong time or out in the wrong time, or we should have seen more of. Because
Mm-hmm.
if he was out like 10 years ago, people would have been all over him. Or if he was 15 years ago, people would have been all over him. Do you know what I mean? Like Groundbreaker. What was the other one? Big and Bashy. Do you know what I mean? Those tunes were crazy, and they were like commercial as well. Like they were commercial sounding songs that you could still fucking bump. They were sick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We needed to see more of Fallacy because he was crazy. Like
Yeah, the energy here is just insane, man. Like, as I said, like, it's not so much the delivery or his presence on the track. It's just in comparison to like Tony's first verse. It's just like completely blew me away. So I
mm,
guess I was a little underwhelmed when Fallacy came through. But then towards the end of the track, with the back and forth between the two, that's when it really it
yeah.
comes into its own. There, it's
Hmm.
so energetic, and um, I'm not. What did you think of like the hook on this?
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
Don't like it.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
I
Didn't want
think
to be
it's
the first to say it. I thought it was a
no, I didn't.
little bit
Yeah,
corny, maybe. I don't know, but yeah.
it's a bit. I don't know. Not formulaic, but just a bit. I don't know.
couldn't think of anything else. Let's just fucking throw the title of the song in. Yeah. But you know, not to take away from the positive takes, because overall it's quite a fun, upbeat song. There's a lot of good wordplay.
Fun. Mental illness is fun. Wow. Not fun.
Come on, man.
It's
You
not
get
fun.
me. You get me wrong, man. You get me wrong, because when I say fun, there's a difference between content of a song and the vibe you get from it. You know, there's still kind of, you can still listen to a song about anything and get like a good fun vibe from it. You know, it's the juxtaposition between the delivery and the content. So that's why this is obviously something that works.
Do you think fun is the wrong word to describe it? Like,
mate, like
compelling, you could say.
Compelling. No. Fun's easier to say, and it's easier to pluck from my
fun head.
From my fun head. When I hear like paralytic, I just think
that's
like,
pissed.
Pissed, yeah. I just think of that.
That's drunk.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe
so where are you coming from? Like, am I just misinterpreting the song? Because I was just thinking.
For me, it sounds like mental illness. Do you not? Like, because he's talking about going to certain places. Like, what? Shit, man. Where the bars? Because there's bars where he talks about. Where does he say going? What's the prison round here where all the mental people go? Like, you know, the criminally insane people go. I can't think.
Not Broadmoor, is it?
Yeah, he talks about Broadmoor and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure he does. He talks about like all these like mad places.
Oh, right.
I think anyway. Don't get me wrong. Don't misquote me. Should we pause it and have a little look at the thing?
Yeah, man.
Let's do it. All right, let's go. Are you looking up or?
I'm just making a note at the time.
Okay,
so I can't.
Hang on. I'm sure it's because he says that paranoid. Yeah, I was the first bar. The first bar is I was diagnosed paranoid schizo and then committed and fitted to and not allowed to any visits about Belmarsh and Bellevue, the self-admitted nutter. That's how Tony comes in. So like it's kind of like he's saying about mental illness, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think maybe their terminology is a bit like not the right terminology for someone has mental health problems. Don't know. It's an interesting take on that.
Either way, it was the song was fun, but mental health definitely is not fun.
It's like just putting it out there. But yeah, no, like I think
anyway,
you want to move smoothly on.
Yeah, moving swiftly on to real estate. So real estate, next track. I think it opens with a scene from a film or a TV program, or was it constructed especially for this record? I don't know. Like, I can't tell. It's what?
I think it's a raid on someone's house, isn't it?
Yeah. So is that like something that's like happening in real life? Is that like just from a film or a program? Like, either way,
did it sound real? I think it might have done. Sounded real. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Who cares? It's there anyway.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this song's about just like estate life, really, like from back in those mid-90s, and he just allows you into his reality and his geographics.
Yeah, man, it's a good play on the title as well, like real estate and like real estate.
Yeah.
Like New Cross, home of the original Muggers. Nice, like play on Bucktown.
Yeah.
Gun clappers. Well, that was sick. The contrast between the straight-laced livers and the criminals. You know, like you've got people going about their day in one world, and you've got the criminals, but the lengths people go to in order to survive, like the system that they're trapped in, that kind of mentality. I really like it. I really like this track, man.
It's I think. Is there a video to this? I can't remember. I think I can distinctly remember someone doing this.
Let me look, man.
On top of a concrete set of stairs like that. It's like that, like this. doing the mid-90s dance, isn't it? In the hip hop videos, like this.
Yeah. No.
Buckshot.
I don't think there is.
I'm old and my dad. But like, is there not? I make that up.
It's not on YouTube anyway. I mean, it might exist somewhere, but I
I
can't.
hold it L. I
I
stand
can't.
corrected. If it is, run it up.
You're probably thinking of several other videos
Yeah.
with generic dancing on top of the stairwells, man. Exactly.
Fuming. Was it my video?
Could be, man.
Maybe. I mean, I was there. I should
possibly.
Remember. But yeah, no, it's about, you know, social commentary, anxiety, crime, death. Things that still ring true today, but it's more of a mid-90s take on it. Again, it gives you that kind of grainy graphics, Lahane kind of style. This is, I don't know why I kind of connect that film with this. Maybe it's the aesthetic of the way the music's put together. Do you know what I mean? You like that? You're a fan of that film as well, so I think you might be able to kind of understand.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. It's just, again, it's just kind of a hangout in a place. You know, you're surrounded by all this fuckery going on.
Yeah.
You're trapped. You're a victim of your environment. Social commentary, as you say. Yeah, nice track, man. I like this one.
Yeah.
Anything else to add before moving on?
Nah. He used to pack a hammer in a black bandana.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Best way to transport a hammer.
What builders don't.
Exactly.
Right.
Growing up, the next track. So
cool. The intro pissed me off, man.
The intro, the porn intro. So to give some context, yeah. So kids watching a porn, the mum walks in and finds them watching it. You know, like relatable. It's a trip down memory lane. You know, it's a sex track in it. Like,
yeah.
For me, it's kind of like these kind of tracks mostly get skipped. I think they're quite dated.
But this track's cool though.
I don't know, man.
Really nice.
It's a snapshot of the '90s. It kind of the type like R. Kelly, like "Fuck You" on the Biggie track and stuff, on the Biggie album and that. It's kind of reminiscent of that, and I'm like, not as kind of on the nose as something like that, but I kind of bundle all of those kind of love sex ballads together.
But I don't know if it was though. I think it's kind of like more relaxed, kind of like melodic.
Yeah.
Like vibey. It's more of a, like, to me, it's like a summer track. Like, he's talking about girls and stuff. Like, it's like a lady song, but it's not.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's like, no, I think you're fobbing it off.
I am a little bit. I was a bit bored when I was listening to it. That's why I was.
Like, he kind of comes in with that, with the Mos Def iteration. Like, memories don't live like, whatever he says. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Then he comes in, and that's nice as well. And the song's quite nice and chilled out. Like, that's like a beach song. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can chill in a car, you can go to the beach. Like, it's a calm, chilling song. The only thing about listening to this song, if you was down the beach, would be the porno bit at the start, because you have to fucking fast forward. Then you would skip it, because there's a bit of porno at the start. You don't want to listen to that when you're down. Like,
pause for porno.
Yeah, pause for. You don't want that. But yeah, no. So like, I don't think I'd skip this song. It's about, like, it's a nice song. It's a nice chill song.
I'll have to go back to it, man. I just remember like being quite bored by it, but but yeah, again, you know, all within the context of this album. Anything else you wanted to talk about on this one?
I think it was like a nice welcome, like, oasis of niceness.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah, like it was. Like, it's not, everything else is rough and to the point.
Yeah, that's why I fuck with it. This is just like, oh right, yeah, like, okay.
No, because this is
I don't need it.
Something different, isn't it? This is like, not like today was a good day, but like, it's like it has just a different vibe to it, so it kind of allows you to just sink into it. If you look, and I like all hard shit too, but like this, I can deal with this. I can deal with this. Some soft stuff I can't deal with for shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can normally, but not necessarily on a Blak Twang album. Like,
no, but you have to. No. You have to, because of his ability to be able to go from here to here to here, because he can do that, and he can do that at an early stage. So you almost have to allow yourself to be like, so he can do. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, he can. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I'll let him do that because he's good at doing it. So you're wrong. I'm right. Next time you're listening to this song in the car.
Yeah, just the porno bit. Because I'm mature like that. Echo Chamber with Roots Maneuver and Shawnee T.
You go.
Yeah, man. I think the beat's heavy.
Yeah.
English style, making statements with my fashion. I love the bars, man. Yeah, it's a solid track. It's not. I'm probably going to be crucified for this statement as well, but I feel, with the exception of the remix at the end, I said that the Queen's Head is kind of the peak. I feel that the latter half of the album, it kind of starts to decline for me. Like, I feel that all the memorable tracks were kind of stacked at the front of the album.
Okay.
There are some exceptions, but yeah, I like this song. It's solid. The beat's heavy. The features are good. It's just not the most memorable out of all of them for me. That's my general kind of view on it.
It's just a hip hop track. Like, it's just a nice, well put. It's got three amazingly talented people on it.
Yeah.
All have different facets of their ability that don't outshine each other because they do their own thing in their own lane on the song. Like, you have Tony being Tony, Shawnee T being like, Shawnee T is amazing. Like, again, like, as another person who should have been around a lot more. Like, we should have seen more of him. And obviously you've got Roots Maneuver being Roots Maneuver on it. So it's a decent song. You're not going to pull out, oh yeah, Echo Chamber, like, over some of the other tracks, but it's not a skippable song. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to sum it up.
Yeah. And if you're a rapper, like, if you're a rapper's rapper, you'll listen to you'll deconstruct it and you'll get into it, and you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably why we're having some disagreements throughout this, because, again, listening from different perspectives, like, you're a rapper, you listen to it not for different reasons, but you can take different things and appreciate it in different ways than I can. I'm just a grunt who knows nothing. Do you know what I mean? So I just fucking put it on and think,
not necessarily.
Man, that's shit.
Yeah, it's got porn on it.
But Echo Chamber was, yeah, as you said, it's a solid hip hop track. Not everything has to be a masterpiece. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Not every track has to be like, let's just pick Queen's Head as an example, or like Heads and Tails or something like that. It doesn't all have to be that. You need some tracks which are just like, oh yeah, that's a solid hip hop track.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, good one. Did you have anything else on that one, or?
Nope, I'm cool on that. Like, yeah, that was
Entrepreneurs. With Drezzo, the Brigadier of the Bloodhounds.
Where was he? Was he on there? Who was he? Was he on the track? In my notes, I've put, nice track. Where's the feature?
Do you know what I said? Found myself zoning out at this stage. I feel like I was lagging hard listening to this album this time round at this particular track.
When I got to this point in the album, it was probably about 1:30 in the morning or 1 a.m. or something ridiculously late, and I'm there, and my fingers are hurt, like, in just trying to type, and my arms going numb because I'm in the same position. I'm thinking, come on, I will get there. But no, I just tried to think, where the fuck is the feature? Is he on there? Like,
I can't even remember. And I think, and so I'm going to make a point after recording this of going back to the tracks which I haven't looked upon as favourably as the others.
Okay.
And see if I can take something different based on, I'd say, your feedback, but you can't remember fuck all about this one either. So, but
not this one, not this particular one. I mean, and I did listen to this before we started this recording as well.
But growing up, I'm going to go back to Paralytic Monkey and try to, like, pick out that mental health theme as well, because I completely missed that.
Yeah. Did you allow? You must have allowed the title to kind of.
Yeah. Exactly. And also just the general kind of upbeat vibe to it, and the energy the MCs brought kind of overshadowed the dark content perhaps. But anyway, back to Entrepreneurs.
I like the sample.
Mm-hmm. I like the British references as well, like, Abbey Nash, like Abbey National. It's like, oh, come on, like,
we know that, we're English.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, whoa.
I think we should move on from Entrepreneurs.
My mind was like simultaneously like fried and blown at the same time, so I didn't really take in too much of this song.
I think we might be doing this song a disservice, right? So if you're out there listening to this, if you want to go and check this album, go check the album, yeah?
If Entrepreneurs is your favourite track of Blak Twang's or your favourite on the album, then I'm sorry. I personally apologise.
And put it in the comments and tell us how fucking stupid we are for not bigging it up, and then big up Tony afterwards and at him and say, all that shit.
And please point out where Drezzo's feature comes in as well, because, Anyway, Rhyming is Forever, the next one. Obviously, a play on James Bond. Like, the concept's pretty cool.
Right. My God, I've just clocked it. I did not clock that at all.
You're joking.
Did not clock that. See, every day's a school day. Unbelievable.
Come on, man. Oh,
Rhyming is Forever.
My God. So, the James Bond theme's fun. You can hear the theme faintly in the background as well. Like, it's like real faint. If you go back to it, you can catch that. The name is Twang. Blak Twang comes in with as well.
Oh my God.
Come on.
See, well, never mind. It's fine.
British. James Bond is British. Blak Twang is British. Come on.
Yeah.
The lyrics are fun. The beat wasn't my favourite though.
But it was that party over type of track though, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like we out, like we're gone, it's time to go type thing. Like it was that
and
type track.
And this was the closing track on the original release. It wasn't released, but
no, it is the closing track. The bonus track don't count. This is the closing track.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the bonus track anyway because it's obviously on Spotify. But yeah, no, you could tell this was like the party over track, but it kind of had that. Don't know. See you later. Well, I don't know what it is and what gives it that kind of impression, but you can tell it's the end.
Yeah, and Rhyming is Forever as well. It's like,
like it's a sign off almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll keep that, like it's an assurance saying that yes, we will keep doing this forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Yes.
So that was the assurance. But yeah, no, it's a nice way to ease out of the album.
Agree, man.
Then you get completely shocked.
Yeah.
By a brand new track. There was a DettWork SouthEast remix, revisited, Redux, whatever you want to call it.
Produced by Harry Love as well.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Featuring Rodney
P. Tony goes hard.
He kills it. No, you can tell.
Rodney goes hard.
Yeah,
and last but not least, fucking Samson, R.I.P. Black the Ripper goes hard. They all kill it.
And they all absolutely smash it. I think Tony's verse is really well put together. You can just see how not much he's come along, but you can just see how consistent and on point he was. Like you could almost like draw a comparison to the original DettWork SouthEast and see how polished he was then, and then see how polished he was now. The only thing that's better is the skill set maybe and the way he puts things together, but the delivery is still that boom, 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 and it still hits you where.
Rhyming is forever.
It is forever. That's what he finished it. Just picked it up back.
Still going.
Same pen, sponsored by Bic. There you go, mate. He's on it. But yeah, no, he kills that first verse, and then Rodney's verse is cool. Like, what can you say about Rodney P? Like, you can't. For me personally, I don't think he's ever done. Well, you can hold this against me. I don't give a shit. I don't think he's ever done a bad feature verse. Every time he comes in with something, you're like,
he kills it.
Like,
I don't think anyone's going to gun you for saying that, man. Like, I think that's standard. Like,
every time I hear that something where he's done like a little feature here or there, I get gassed. Like, it takes me back to Rhythm Killer and the album, even his album that dropped. You know what I mean? And all the Dedicated and stuff like that. And you just think, London Posse as well, obviously. But so he comes in, same energy, bet obviously. Just same standard Rodney, not same standard, but same live Rodney P, and then kicking in the door, waving the reball, and I was like, what the fuck? Reworking that Biggie lyric. So yeah, he kills that as well. And obviously like Blak the Ripper is not someone I always used to listen to. Like he's not someone I'd always check for or checked out.
I love his verse in this, man. I
really like his verse as well. I like it. It's like it's him to a T, really. Like from from a perspective of someone who knows not a lot about him. Like, obviously, activist, weed activist, and he has like a political stance as well. And it's you got that message loud and clear through that verse. Do you know what I mean? So and his delivery is really, really good as well.
Yeah, his cadence and he's very assertive with his delivery, very concise. Jest as well, man. I mean, it's Jest, so he's always consistent. That Boris Johnson bar has aged brilliantly.
It worked really well. I think Jest kind of pulled in everyone else as well on the track and mentioned them as well, name dropped them as well, which tied it in quite nicely. So, I mean, it's a nice nod to the album. They kind of commemorated it with the release just to celebrate it, to draw people into it, which is good. So yeah, it's not out of place for the purpose that it serves. So I can't really, it's good.
Yeah, man, exactly. It's the same as like the trilogy remix. You know, obviously, like that dropped around the same time as Return of the Drifter. That was on the original release, right? But in terms of having like a dope fucking remix on the end of your album to close it out, and just with all these incredible rappers on, it's similar to that. Just killed it. But what were your general thoughts on the album, man?
It's like I said at the start. Like, I mean, I think you are right. The way that they ramp it up, like at the start, and it's all the
front load it with the good ones. It's kind of it's a little inconsistent from Queen's Head, I think, onwards.
Yeah, I think you are right, but I think there is still some decent tracks there, because as you think, after Queen's Head is Backstreet Survivor, Paralytic Monkey, Real Estate. So I think maybe not. I think it's the last. There's the last two. It's Entrepreneurs, really. I think. And you don't like Growing Up, but that's you. So I don't know. So it's just that's the patchy. That's the only patchy part, really, because I do appreciate the rest of the songs. So, but it is a really good album. Like I said, like it is contemporary for its time. You could still bang a lot of it now, and you could still get that. I reckon you could still draw production wise from it, and you can still listen to producers that are producing now, for rappers that are rapping now, that kind of get that vibe and make music with that vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like if you hear like maybe the tempo's changed a little bit. If you listen to like Blast Off in it, I think their stuff is kind of really boom bap but like more lower tempo. You could almost draw comparisons to some of that stuff on there. Maybe. What do you reckon?
It's hard. I'd have to kind of listen side by side, man.
It's got their big drums.
Yeah.
Big bass.
But they've slowed the tempo right down.
Yeah. So they've taken that mid-90s sound but made it their own by slowing it down. So you can draw from this. So it's classic sounding, do you know what I mean? So this album is obviously going to go down as one of the classics of the genre.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be swinging as well, because the quality of the bars are up there.
Oh, 100%, man. Because I think that's the strongest point, I think, is, as I said, like the former part of the album, some of the beats are just incredible. But Tony's wordplay, some of his multis, the way he kind of draws you into his world, and his whole kind of vernacular, it's just second to none, man. I mean, it's a banging album, really. Like, let's face it, there are some weaker tracks as a whole, but as a whole, it's a banging album. Hard really beats, heavy bass, hard rhymes, greasy street tales with a UK twist. The tracks are structured in a very kind of formulaic 90s way, you know, like verse, bridge, hook, repeat 3 times. But I'm here for that. That's what I'm about. I lean more towards the tracks grounded in reality versus like some of the kind of more concept-driven tracks, but that's just my preference. And I said that I think it kind of peaks at Queen's Head, but probably unfairly, to your point. There are some incredible tracks after that. Real Estate's incredible. DettWork London Revisited, I don't really count.
No, I don't count it as the album.
Yeah,
It's a purpose as a remix at the end. Yeah,
it's a bonus track, you know. It's a bonus track, but some standouts, yeah. DettWork SouthEast, Fearless, Thai Boxing, Heads and Tails, Queen's Head.
you're just going through the track list.
No, and that's it, and Real Estate, and the others good. But I will go back and you know, and keep listening. Hopefully, try to get something out of it that I might have missed. But yeah, that's my take, man.
Really good album, like it'd be good to hear. I mean, you need to listen to 19 Long Time. No, that's the next. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously this is the first offering from him.
Yeah.
And you can hear, if you listen to 19 Long Time, like you can hear the evolution.
The evolution, yeah.
And then he's mad polished, and then he's almost taken that some of the like melodies and stuff into it, and the bars. Yeah, you can, and it's almost That's the next.
I mean, in the kind of the grand scheme of like UK hip hop, like no one really, like hardly anyone is getting like signed or gets any kind of level of commercial success. And I think the fact that he did manage to get there speaks volumes really of how like he was kind of revered at the time, if that makes sense. It's like, think how many independent UK artists there are. And I mean, if you think about the ones who actually had like record deals, you know, proper music videos. I remember seeing Kickoff on fucking MTV back in the day. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
that was crazy. When that came out, when all those songs came, those 3 songs came out: Kickoff, Trickstar, I'm So Rotten. That was like.
Yeah, this is.
It was almost like the long-awaited. Like this is the stuff that we needed from him to just confirm. Because I think that he was that rapper in that period of time was always that marketable. Do you know what I mean? Like he was always that good. But I think he was ahead of his time in 1996, because in 1996 people were used to English people getting hip hop wrong, so they didn't almost want to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like they didn't want to have. I suppose they didn't want to hear an English rapper rapping in an English accent. Do you know what I mean? They wanted to hear an American rapper rapping in an American accent. So he could easily have swung with some of the 1996 contemporaries from America. Do you know what I mean? But when it got to the Kickoff stage, it was like, right, people have grown. People are now ready to listen to someone who has the accent and speaks the way he speaks. Do you know what I mean? Like, so then when those tunes came out, they smashed it, and it was like, okay, cool. Now go from there.
Nice one, man. So let's wrap this up then. Anyone listening, thank you for checking it out. What did you think of the album? Have you listened to it? If not, highly recommend that shit. Go and revisit it. Go and look at his whole back catalogue, because you'll find a lot of incredible stuff there. But yeah, I really rated this album, man. I had a lot of fun going back to it. Fun being the key word again. But it's I think there's definitely an argument to be had that it's a contender for one of the greatest kind of UK hip hop records of all time. I'd argue that out of my own preference and experience, but
I could never say one. I would always say like it's 5 or 10.
Yeah, but I would say it definitely. I wouldn't be mad if somebody said it was their favorite of all time. It's one of those, you know. Yeah. It's I can see how influential it is, and it is a shame that it was, you know, it came across all of these obstructions from the studio, because I think it didn't, you know, get the initial reception it deserved. So it's sick that the fans kept banging on about it and eventually getting it released properly all those years later. But again, if you haven't checked it, make sure that you do. And let us know what you want us to review next. If there's any like particular albums that you think that, you know, deserve to be talked about and broken down, which, you know, we're trying to tap into albums that don't necessarily have that exposure, or like, you know, we could talk about fucking, I don't know, like Ready to Die or Illmatic till the cows come home, but we want to. Everyone's done that. Like, more qualified people have talked about that online than we have.
That's it.
So we want to go into those albums that kind of slipped under the radar a little bit, you know.
Underground shit, maybe underground stuff, things that more subversive. So we'll do a slew of like UK things, the important UK things that we need to talk about, and then I think we'll get into a point where we'll start looking at some maybe US stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
man.
think? Do you want to know?
I'm
I
down.
think I'm definitely on that. I've got some albums in the chamber ready to go. Like
I
that I
think I do
really
as
want
well,
to talk
man. I think
about.
I do as well. Sounds good. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it's been Tom and Rob, Shotgun the Orcs, on all platforms at Shotgun the Orcs. Like, subscribe if you want. More content coming soon. Rob, it's been a pleasure, man. Until next time on Shotgun the Classics.
Peace.
We're out.